What if the most realistic lesbian movies are the ones that quietly disappeared before most people even noticed them? No hype, no viral moments, no over-the-top storytelling. Just honest, grounded relationships that feel like real life. Messy, quiet, and sometimes unfinished. These films didn't miss the spotlight by accident. They were simply too real for it. So here are the top 10 realistic lesbian movies that everybody missed. Let's dive in. 1. Tell That to the Winter Sea, 2024. There's something about revisiting a past connection that feels both comforting and painful at the same time. This film captures that feeling perfectly. Set during a pre-wedding weekend, it follows two women who once shared something deep, but never fully resolved it. Instead of dramatic confrontations, the film leans into quiet tension. Small glances, unfinished conversations, and subtle emotional shifts tell the story. You can feel the history between them without needing everything spelled out. What makes this film stand out is how it treats memory. It doesn't romanticize the past, but it also doesn't dismiss it. It shows how certain connections never fully disappear, no matter how much time passes. The realism comes from how ordinary everything feels. No over-the-top drama, just emotions that slowly surface. 2. Lucky, Apartment, 2026. This film strips romance down to its most practical form. It's not about fantasy, it's about reality. Bills, expectations, social pressure, all the things that quietly shape relationships are front and center here. Set in South Korea, the story follows a couple trying to build a life together while dealing with financial instability and societal norms. There are no grand gestures here. Instead, the tension comes from everyday struggles. What makes it powerful is how relatable it feels. The conversations are raw, sometimes uncomfortable, and often unresolved, just like in real life. It shows how love can be affected by external pressures and how maintaining a relationship requires effort beyond emotions. 3. A Date for Mad Mary, 2016. Not every love story begins smoothly, and this film embraces that idea completely. After being released from prison, Mary is trying to rebuild her life. She's rough around the edges, unsure of herself, and struggling to fit back into her old world. When she needs a date for her best friend's wedding, the journey that follows is messy, funny, and unexpectedly emotional. What makes this film feel real is its honesty. Mary isn't portrayed as perfect or instantly likable. She's flawed, defensive, and still figuring things out. Her connection with the wedding photographer develops naturally, without forced moments. It's a story about growth, self-acceptance, and finding connection when you least expect it. 4. You Can Live Forever, 2022. Set in a strict religious community during the 1990s, this film explores first love under intense restrictions. It's not loud or dramatic. It's quiet, careful, and deeply emotional. The relationship develops through subtle interactions. A look, a pause, a moment of hesitation. Every small detail matters because the environment doesn't allow for openness. What makes it stand out is how restrained it is. The film doesn't rely on dramatic conflict. Instead, it focuses on internal struggles, the conflict between belief, identity, and emotion. It's a reminder that sometimes the most powerful stories are told in whispers, not in noise. 5. Silver Haze, 2023. This is one of the most raw and unfiltered films on the list. Inspired by real-life experiences, it follows a young nurse dealing with past trauma while navigating a complicated emotional connection. The relationship in this film isn't perfect or easy. It's layered, sometimes messy, and deeply human. What makes it powerful is how it doesn't try to simplify emotions. Healing isn't shown as a straight path. It's unpredictable, slow, and sometimes painful. The film captures that complexity without trying to make everything neat or resolved. It's not just about love. It's about understanding yourself while trying to connect with someone else. Sex. Summer of Mesa, 2020. This film feels like a memory. Set in the 1980s, it captures the awkward, confusing, and beautiful feeling of a summer connection between two teenage girls. The low-budget style actually works in its favor. It makes everything feel more personal and authentic, like you're watching someone's real life rather than a polished story. There's a softness to the film. It doesn't rush anything. Moments stretch out, conversations feel natural, and emotions slowly build. It's less about plot and more about atmosphere, the feeling of discovering something new about yourself during a specific moment in time. 7. Princess Sid, 2017. This is one of those rare films that treats identity as something normal rather than something dramatic. It follows Sid, a teenager spending the summer with her aunt in Chicago. What makes this film special is its calmness. There's no heavy conflict around identity. Instead, it's presented as a natural part of her life. The dialogue feels real, almost like overhearing conversations rather than scripted lines. The relationships, whether romantic or familial, are given equal importance. It's a true slice-of-life story that focuses on growth, curiosity, and connection without forcing any big dramatic moments. 8. Skiff, 2026. This coming-of-age story focuses on the tension between personal identity and family expectations. Set in a close-knit community, it shows how difficult it can be to step outside what's expected of you. The film feels modern but grounded. It doesn't exaggerate conflict. Instead, it shows how pressure can build quietly over time. The emotional core comes from the character's internal struggle. Wanting to stay connected to family while also being true to yourself is something many people can relate to. It's a story about courage, but not the loud kind, the quiet kind that happens in everyday choices. 9. Des Preuves d'Amour, 2025. This film explores a side of relationships that rarely gets attention, the practical challenges of building a family. It follows a couple preparing for parenthood while dealing with legal and bureaucratic hurdles. What makes it unique is its focus on real-world obstacles. The stress doesn't come from within the relationship, but from outside systems that make things complicated. It shows how love exists alongside responsibility, paperwork, and uncertainty. The realism comes from how ordinary these struggles feel. It's a reminder that relationships don't exist in isolation. They're shaped by the world around them. 10. Saving Face, 2004. Even though this film has a strong following, many people still haven't seen it, and it absolutely deserves more attention. Set within a Chinese-American community, it explores the balance between cultural expectations and personal identity. The story weaves together romance and family dynamics in a way that feels genuine and relatable. What makes it powerful is its balance. It manages to include humor while still addressing serious themes. The mother-daughter relationship adds another layer, showing how different generations navigate similar struggles in different ways. It's a grounded, heartfelt story that feels just as relevant today as it did when it was released. What connects all of these films is their commitment to realism. They don't rely on cliches or exaggerated drama. Instead, they focus on the small details, conversations, choices, and moments that feel real. These are the kinds of stories that stay with you because they reflect real life. Imperfect, sometimes quiet, sometimes complicated, but always honest. If you're tired of over-the-top storytelling and want something that feels genuine, these films are definitely worth your time. And once you watch them, you might realize the most powerful stories are often the ones that don't try too hard to be seen.